Got it. Okay, I think we're on. Hello, everybody. This is Elisha Keating from wisdomseekers.net. And we're here today with Ascending with Nicola, and we're going to have a very interesting conversation, right? Because we always do.
Yeah.
we always seem to have some of the most interesting conversations, bar none.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I don't, oh, good. This time it stayed off, the sound.
Okay, great. So we can get started, eh?
Right. And did you want to tell people what we're talking about while I play around?
Okay. Well, the topic is the next year, 2022. And beyond that is conscious creation. So what do we want to do? What do we want to manifest in our lives? What do we want the world to be like in 2022? And it can go anyways because we have an influx of energy to help us create that which we want to create, and to become conscious of that and how that is. So that's it in a nutshell, and I'll go from there when you are ready.
I'm just trying to figure out how to get nobody's talking, so I can't tell if it's working or not.
Oh, okay.
But today I was talking to Linda Johnson, and she said something that was very interesting. She said, there's this man, he died, and he went for half an hour. He died for half an hour, and when he came back, he'd been to the other side, and it took him like 30 years to get to the place where he could digest everything he saw in that half hour. But one of the things people asked him, it was a very interesting question actually, was the earth flat or round? And his answer was neither. It's what you perceive it to be. Which means basically we have the power to create whatever we want in our reality, just as you were saying.
Yes, and actually I had a bit of a download last night.
Oh, sweet, perfect timing.
Contemplating that, and what I saw was this huge tree with a branch that had fallen to the side, and I was looking at this beautiful tree, and then the tree started to become more vibrant and even more alive, and it seemed to transform into this amazing tree. And the guide that was with me said, heaven is what you create. And or something like that. Or it wasn't words, it was a feeling. I don't know, when you go into spirit and you get this download, it's hard to put it into words because it's just a feeling and a sensation. And what we create here matters in heaven. It really does affect, when we talk about as above, so below.
Right.
So below as above.
That makes sense.
It's one and the same. And I have been looking at different people who have passed on as well and gotten their input. And so I've been in meditation about it myself. And so it seems real simple, but it's not. One of my teachers, or one of the teachers that I've been following quite a bit, because I really don't quite understand what he's saying, but he says that everything that's in existence has no cause. In other words, this does not cause that, and we think that it does. And what he's getting at is everything that's in spirit and in consciousness is a state of being. It doesn't become anything until we want it to become something.
Mm.
And then that's when the duality kicks in.
So basically, it's not there till we create it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So this is the year of understanding. I mean, there are thousands of people who have been to the other side and come back. I had no idea it was so common.
I
But
think it's more common now because so many people are needing that fast wake up.
well, I don't know, because some of these have been 30 years ago or 15 years ago
Yeah.
or 20 years ago.
But
And,
you do realize we've been in a state of ascension since the 1800s, right?
well, exactly. That's what I becoming more and more aware of is that what is ascension is love.
100% agree.
That's it. So it's learning to open our hearts and learning to allow ourselves to be love and one with God, one with Creator, one with Source. And the ascension really is um, it's love. Okay.
Mhm.
Given that, why do we incorporate and what is this dualistic thing? What's going on? We all ask that, right? Um, and it is really to have some fun and to learn what love is given duality.
Yes, and that's would be a good reason why we go through so much. And I'm going to call it kimchi, just because a word that kind of sounds right but isn't. Because so, for instance, how many people have come into this life and they've come into the wrong, not the wrong family, but families that are totally dysfunctional, and we have to move through that family. And I think well, there's two reasons, of course. One is for us to figure out what love really is, which is the main reason. And the other one is to give a dysfunctional family a chance to discover what love really is.
I know that we say that and we understand it at some level, but to go through it is almost Herculean, and we really have to go to courage and a lot of very not so easy ways. Now, when we come into this life, and even some of the more advanced souls who have never been here, and then suddenly are decide, oh, I want to experience that because I want my soul or the part of me that's in this dimension to be more evolved and more loving. Because some of these souls just go along and they meet each other on the other side. So I want to be like that person. This person is actually on the internet. I can't remember his name right now, but anyway, he came in to a human life, and he was so upset when he came into the fetus that he says, "I can't do this. It's too hard." Right then and there, and so he just left.
Well, a lot of them do. We lose a lot of babies that way.
Exactly, and of course, then he had to answer for the pain that he caused the couple that lost the baby.
And if you've been around people who've lost children, it's just devastating for them.
It is. It is. Um, you just don't. Well, anyway, it's very hard. And so then he said, okay, he was ready, and he came in, and he is a living being on this planet right now. And he did have a lot of hard things to come through to come to his evolvement of his soul. But he's still here, so he still has work to do.
Yes. Well, if you don't do your work, with you opt out early, you just got to come back and finish it.
More, right. He had more, like that fella did. And he is truly an amazing person. I mean, there's just no getting around it. So the other thing that I've been learning about is 2022, and I'm going to get into it in just a few minutes, really more in depth.
Mhm.
The fields, the creation, the area of creation before creation, the area of wave and not particle and not matter. Okay, that area
0 point.
0 point energy is becoming even more available to us right now.
Yes.
And that's what we're feeling. We're feeling this, and this longing inside us that a lot of people are experiencing, or this well, anything that
Opens up the love field.
right, opening that up is sometimes really hard, because there are some things that we're resisting and some things that we're hanging on to. Like somebody had done you wrong, or you had the worst parents in the world, or you were abused, or society's like this, or you're in jail, or whatever.
Oh, I know.
It's an equal playing ground right now, no matter where you are in life.
I did a live yesterday on forgiveness,
Yes.
and I had 70 views, which is really, it's like 40 more people than average.
Well, that's interesting. Now, one of the things that Joe Dispenza talks about in that area is that when you become feeling of wholeness, when you are truly feeling whole, there's nothing to forgive and nothing to want, because you're feeling so great that there's nothing that bothers you. So that's a great state to get into. I have glimpses of that, but I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, no, I have glimpses too. I understand what you mean. It's frustrating because you can see it, you know it, but you're not there.
Yeah, well, then we have to dig that. This is the year to start digging deeper.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and for me, I'm committed to it.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm excited about it, because this time I know it's on the other side. So it's like getting a goal. I want this state of being right here, but I'm right here. What are the steps to get to here? 1, 2, 3, 4. What is it? What is it? And I have those here. But before I get into that, one of my main teachers, Kai Ra, did a meditation the other day that I thought was really, really fantastic for me. And that is that we would pick one word to describe or to aspire to, or that is the word that we need to know, experience, or whatever for 2022.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It could be love, it could be forgiveness, it could be wisdom, whatever. And right away, the word lit up in my mind for me as an integrity.
That's
And
right, because as long as I've known you, integrity has been a word I would have assigned to you right from the start.
Well, see, yes. So integrity means to become one with myself and my higher self, to really get that. And so that's the person I want to be, is fully, authentically me.
Okay.
There's some parts of me that I'm holding back, right? Otherwise, I would have everything solved, right?
Well, you'd be able to reach out and say, hey, I want an apple, and it would be there.
I mean, so to become whole, I need to not work on integrity, not aspire to it, but to allow it. And it doesn't have to be hard. I just have to remember that if I get triggered in any way, like today, this guy who I'm working for remotely wanted an update on the report at 10 o'clock this morning, and I didn't plan to give it to him until about 2 o'clock today. And I go, oh, I better get busy and do that. And then I heard in my head, that's not what you want to do right now. That's not what your soul wants you to do right now. So I had to breathe, because what that was fear.
Yeah.
So I had to pull back and say, I'm not going to respond to or answer that right now, because that's not being in integrity where I am right at this moment and what I intended to do. I was going to give him the report, not when he wanted it, but when I knew that it would be ready.
And the thing that's interesting about that is a very hard concept for people to grasp.
Mhm.
That slight difference, it was like 4 hours max,
Yeah.
but that slight difference I'm doing it because, oh, I'm supposed to, society says I'm supposed to, then this is the way it works.
Or your mother or your brother or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that people have such a difficult ability to grasp that because it's such a minute shift, right?
Mhm.
It's not a huge shift. A huge shift is so much easier to grasp, but what you just described, I have not learned how to express it well enough to tell people how to deal with it. Hang on. So Eva says from Holland, Netherlands, integrity is nice. I was thinking about non-judgment, acceptance, and embracing, which is, that's part of it. But it's also accepting and embracing yourself. Yeah.
Well, okay, judgment is a very, very beautiful non-judgment thing to be the guiding word for that lady from the Netherlands for this year, because that encompasses so much.
It does.
And a lot of times, we're programmed to judge either ourselves or others in any kind of way. Like somebody comes on and does somebody's smoking in my house and wants to light up the smoke. I go, well, no, it's not loud. But I could judge that person for smoking, right? Or for overeating, and or whatever it is. And
Mhm.
so it's hard to not do that. It's just to say, well, this is my boundary. Please honor it. And it's not to judge that person, but a lot of times that little programming comes up. That person is being rude, or or somebody's cutting me off in traffic, or whatever it is. And we always talk about that center, but how to get to that center and to get to it in an authentic way, rather than I shouldn't feel this way, is, that has been my thing that I've had to overcome for many, many years.
Yeah, you and everybody else. It's not just you. It's a thing. I talking about that. Could I have a short story, if you don't mind? Which it sort of indicates what happens. So my daughter has a really great boyfriend, and when we met him for the first time, we gave him a Buddha.
Uh-huh.
I asked him at Christmas time if how the Buddha was doing, and he looked totally dazed, had no idea what I was talking about. My daughter says, "Well, I think it's here," and he looked a bit embarrassed. And I looked at him and says, "Oh, that's all right. No, I could give you another one,"
Oh,
because I didn't care.
right.
But he looked sort of shocked when I said it, because it is it is an integral part of society that you do care what people do for you and things like that. So, but to me, it was just an opportunity to give him a different gift.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's wonderful to be able to do that. Um, my just give you another example of that, about how I went into love and not judgment. My son and his wife do not um, like cooking, but they wanted me to be there for Christmas.
Mm,
And they sent out, and I said, what they sent out for was not on my, not very nourishing for me.
okay,
But
yeah.
I didn't judge them for that. I went and I got my own stuff and I cooked my own stuff, and we still had time together, and they wanted to watch a movie, which was kind of a terrible movie, but I just loved being with them.
Yeah.
It didn't matter whether, it was a terrible movie, or it didn't matter to me if they didn't feed me. I did bring a pie, and the pie was delicious. So, um, I chose to have a beautiful time and not go into judgment
Mhm.
about his wife, who is constantly on the telephone. I mean, on the, what do you call this? The smartphone. She was just playing her games. I mean, that's her, that's the generation,
Yeah.
you know? So, and it could have been, more traditional, but just
But
being with them was
they were
important.
right, though. It was about family. It wasn't about tradition.
No,
Yeah.
no, but I could have.
Yeah.
And that several years ago say, well, she's not very nice, and all this and that. I could have really gone into judgment.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, there's a big difference between I shouldn't feel that way to I feel that way. What's the teaching? Let it go.
Yeah.
It's a totally different thing. And to me, it's so freeing. Like I judged her, 3 years ago, but I had to say, okay, what's the lesson here? What's the most important thing here? How do I really feel? Da, 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 da. And went on until I can clear out my judgment of her not being able to cook right or not having the turkey defrosted in time or whatever.
Or even caring about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I care about them.
Yeah.
And I care about quality time. And so I had a good time, whether no matter what movie they watched or how many time she spent texting or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's how people communicate. That's how people feel close to each other. I know, like most of my friends are on your side of the continent. So Eva says, to me, integrity is reaching high because it starts with being honest with myself. And that is hard because of denial and blind spots, etc. And the trick there is, Eva, to forgive and allow. Don't go into ego and say I'm bad. Just say, yeah, that's the way it is, and go from there.
I heard this one teacher, David Hawkins, say something about that, where he was saying something about, oh, I lost my thought.
David Hawkins.
Yeah, Dr. David Hawkins.
Yeah.
There's something I can't remember exactly, but he was saying something about when you are, I cannot remember now. Oh well.
Come back to it because you'll remember halfway
I'll
through.
remember later. Okay, I guess I wasn't supposed to say it. What I'm getting is I wanted to tell you some 5 easy steps to get to where you want to go. Now, a lot of times when we go for wanting to have a healthier body, or we want to have more income, or a new car, or a new relationship, or whatever, that we set ourselves up, right? So this is what I want. And when she was talking about being honest with herself, a lot of times we're not really honest with ourselves about what we really want in our lives. Mm-hmm. And if we really want a sports car, let it be. That's okay to want a sports car. And this is life. They're out there. They're there. So, I listened to this amazing coach, and I think this is one thing. She goes 5 steps to get what you want. First thing, what do you want? Write down 5 things that you want. So that's like the end goal. Like I want to have a relationship or a sports car or whatever. So what do we need to do to get there? Well, the next thing is what we call the bridge or the path to get what you want. And on that path, you visualize the steps to take to get that car, let's say. And so then you imagine, you see yourself in that car, but then you come back. Where am I at right now? Do I have the money? Do I have this? If you don't, then you visualize how you're going to get it, whatever that step is. And then you just, if it's like to climb a mountain or something like that, you visualize yourself working out, getting what you need to do to get to that point. And that is very important to visualize each step that it takes to get there. And one other coach said, also visualize um, the things that are going to stand in your way and how you're going to handle it. You know, so let's say your wife doesn't want, or your boyfriend doesn't want you to have this because it's too expensive, or not in their ideas of what should happen. And but you keep saying you don't allow yourself to be swayed by other people's opinions.
That's a big one.
Like, well, you shouldn't want a sports car. I mean, my God, you can barely afford your groceries or something like that. You say, well, no, I've been wanting to have this beautiful job and all this and other thing. This is how I'm going to reward myself. So you start visualizing how you're going to get there, and you play in your mind over and over again how you're going to overcome the obstacles.
Right.
Because they will be there.
Yeah, that's part of life, right?
Exactly. And then when you finally get your sports car, your ego would probably want to take credit for it, but it's not.
Ego usually does.
Because the ego is going to be in there. Oh, you can't have that. You can't get that job that you want. You can't do this. You're not qualified. You're da 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 da. So that's the ego that goes on in your mind, and that's probably the biggest obstacle you'll have is your own mind. So this one coach called it mind trick. There's all kinds of cool names for it.
Oh yeah.
Then how's it going to feel in your body? So you kind of work it up, like, okay, it's going to feel really great to be driving around this sports car, but it also is going to be really great about the journey towards getting that sports car.
And the journey is so important.
Exactly. But you've got to realize that the journey is just going to be as much fun as get the actual sports car.
And sometimes it's more fun.
I would believe so, because a lot of times once they get that thing, they say, well, it's more fun getting here than the actual driving of it.
And the joy of having things is temporary. Like, I have to have this big fabulous house. I'm happy for quite a few months maybe, and then something else comes along and you lose that joy. We do have a comment. Maria Johnson says, acceptance can be one of the most exhilarating feelings, even if our head and hearts don't always agree. That is one of my challenges with the elders, especially.
Well, acceptance is accepting what is right now. Is that this is where I'm at right now. Do I want to stay here? I don't have to. You cannot get to point B without knowing where you are. If you want in New York and you want to get to California, you really need to know that you're in New York and you need to go stepwise to get to California. It's just not happening. If you think you're in Mexico get to California, that's a whole different trip, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
You gotta accept and acknowledge where you are. And it's not a have to, but if you want to get to that other place, then acceptance is really cool to have. And then the third one is, after that, is to feel. I started on that. The third one is to feel in your body what it feels like on each step of the way, not just being in the sports car, but getting that new job and saving that money and looking at that picture of the sports car and whatever else would make you feel good about your choice. And each step, each milestone is a milestone, and to celebrate that.
And that's what people forget. They go into, I don't have it, rather than thinking, wow, I'm this much closer to having.
Right. That focus on what let's see, focus on what you have as as you, with gratitude, and focus on what you are going to get with pride. Each step, to be proud of each step that it takes. Like you just landed that job. I am so proud of myself. I'm going to celebrate. I am well on my way. You know, that sort of thing. And what you're doing is you're kind of combining your mind, body, and spirit. You're going to bring all of those in to your mind, your body, and your spirit. Being in integrity, being in synchronous orbit with each other, to not have one pulling you off your course.
So Eva says in Dutch, we have a saying that translates to the possession of an item is the end of the entertainment. I love that. That's a great. And the hunt is better than the finish. But it's about how the journey is best. Yeah. And that's true.
To celebrate the journey. Right.
People forget that 99% of our lives is the journey. Mm-hmm. So you celebrate 10% or 1%, it's not sufficient to live through.
And then number 4, the last one, actually, if the 5 things is just knowing what you want. Number 4, or the last one, is do the work. And what that means is to start walking towards your goal, step by step, push through any obstacle. One of the ones for me is getting up earlier. So I have to push through that. Like, how much do I really want to have this meditation at 5 o'clock in the morning? And then go, and stepwise, keep doing what I need to do. To eat what I need to eat, to exercise the way I want to exercise. I have a lot of goals this year, but it also takes, I have to overcome my habits, my old habits.
And habits
so I have
harder to break.
Yes, and each moment I have a choice.
Yes.
And so, like, to have that piece of chocolate, or to just drink a glass of water and just pretend that I did. So.
Oh, cool. Is there a halfway step? For instance, instead of having a milk chocolate, you could have a dark chocolate?
Oh, yeah, I definitely have weaned myself off of the milk chocolate. So.
All my life, I've loved milk chocolate, hated dark chocolate. Well, we bought a dark chocolate to make into a dessert for Christmas, and I find I really like that dark chocolate. It's like that big, yes. And every once in a while, not even every day, I have a little bit, have a piece, and I like dark chocolate. I'm going, whoa, that's weird.
So I agree with you that our tastes can change as we go on our journey, and say, I'd really like to eat that, but I really love this ice cream. Well, instead of having the half gallon all at once, have just a little bowl, and then just wean yourself off of it.
Or even switch to something else like coconut ice cream, or
right. But so that's also the other way to do this, is to be that person, is to just completely evolve into that person of wholeness, and there isn't anything you'll want. There's nothing you'd be wanting. Now that's a big long trip, and I know that I'll get there one of these days. That's my goal, is to get complete wholeness, because when we're born into this world, we are kind of fractured off from our bliss,
from our truths.
So yes, and so finding my way back to that being that I am is one of my goals. And I did a meditation the other night, and it just about freaked me out a little bit about who I really am.
Because it was so grand.
Yeah,
I know it scares everybody.
Gosh, wow, really? I imagine that. Oh my God, is that real? So to accept that and to really go for it. And
Because it's intimidating. It's frightening.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it's because
It's
all my life I was told you're not good enough, you don't do this, you don't do that, and or women are emotional and they can't handle this, they can't be scientists. So I've been all my life trying to prove everybody wrong, and now it doesn't matter. So,
because we are so much more than we think we are. Eva has a question, and it's a good one. What if you have a conflicting goals, like more peace and quiet and more excitement? And actually, that's not conflicting, but Nicola will tell you what it is. I'll read the second part of it. I have this thing when walking my dog, I so want to be home. And then when I am home, I immediately feel cabin fever. This confuses me, like, what do I really want? So that's what she was saying. And
well, it could be this. It could be that she's not in that moment for enjoying walking her dog, but she's loving being outside.
yeah.
And then when you come home to appreciate home, go outside to appreciate outside. It's just where you are in the moment. And sometimes when you have to walk the dog, it's a chore. But
Occasionally.
right, you know, and so it's something you got to do. But then maybe you can go for a walk by yourself and go to a garden or to a river or something like that and just sit in nature and just commune with nature rather than having the dog, you know, smell every little thing and do his business and whatnot. So it's probably something like that, that she wants to be outside and she wants to have peace outside and she wants to have peace inside. And a peace can look like, well, I'll never forget this one painting of a waterfall, thundering waterfall coming down. And in this tree branch that's sticking out over the water, and getting the spray of the waterfall was a bird sitting there with his eyes closed. So, you know, there's a lot of stimulation there, but there was also a lot of peace.
Mm-hmm.
And and it is stimulating to go outside, and sometimes it's stimulating to be inside as well. So it is a matter of the energy flow and just to get into the flow and to realize your flow and to work with making sure that it goes into some kind of balance. You know, so walking the dog could be an absolute joy, and sitting in the house could be an absolute joy.
So
It's
one of the things I've heard you say from the beginning is that you're asking for inner peace too. So wherever you are, whatever's happening, you have inner peace, and you could have inner
exactly. It
right.
transcends whatever's going on outside. That's what I meant by that little bird. It really makes
Exactly.
that you could have a thunderous waterfall and you could say, oh my God, it's so loud, it's wet, it's over, or you can be at peace in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it just depends. You can have peace in the middle of chaos around you. Yeah.
And that's I think that's what most of us are seeking, right?
Right. And
I
being
have the
serene, having
hurricane.
peace doesn't necessarily mean quiet, but you know, if you want quiet, you can have it. You can actually have quiet when kids are running through your house and screaming
Mm-hmm.
because you're quiet in yourself. There's so many ways to work with that.
Yeah.
It's I don't know where I've come is I'm not so
It's the grounding, right? The trick is ground.
right. The other thing is about silence. Okay. Now, silence is where you can go inside and just experience no thing, no time, no anything, just nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
And in that nothingness is what Buddha talks about, and everything else is an incredible peace and feeling of oneness. It's just, it's amazing when I really get to go into the silence. No matter what's going on after I wake up from that or get up from that, no matter what is in my environment, I feel serenity.
Uh-huh. It's kind of amazing trick when you can do it.
And to have serenity also with anticipation and excitement, they're not incompatible.
Yeah. And so like on the 24th, we had Christmas Eve with my grandkids who are 10 and 7. Not quiet for a second, but it was calm and peaceful and fun.
So, so in this new year, we're going to have, there's going to be probably a lot more chaos than we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm. Year of the Tiger and Chinese.
So the thing is to not engage it.
That's a lovely trick, actually, with you can.
Don't let it hook up into it. See each
You're gonna
soul as a
bump.
light. Yeah, if you can look at who's creating this, who's doing what, you could say, well, they're souls. I remember this one guy who came back from being dead for a while. He just saw everybody as a light, and he said, he was in jail and stuff like that. And when he grew up on Staten Island, he was a ne'er-do-well kind of guy. But after his near-death experience, and he came out of his cell and was discharged and all that sort of stuff. I mean, people were really nasty to him, but he had this love inside him that just he could not deny it. And so what he did was, he said, what made my life easier was to look at everybody as souls.
Mm-hmm.
So when that person cuts you off or, is rude to you, or it could be a relative, it could be anybody, you don't have to endure it. But I mean, you can be at peace about it by looking at them as a soul that hasn't learned their lessons yet. And, so.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I use my cards a lot for that because it's a spiral tarot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the spiral, the beginning or the end, everybody's equal, but that doesn't mean everybody's learned the same thing.
Right, because there's so much going on here. So,
thousands of lifetimes to learn all this stuff.
And I like to, there's so many people with so many different beliefs, brought up so many different ways. There's a lot of anger. I was just kind of watching somebody talk about this person got the wrong order in a fast food place and was freaking out and yelling and screaming and whatnot. And that person is obviously not getting it, but the other people just say, well, you need to leave the restaurant and stuff like that. Some people call it entitlement, but that person just hasn't really learned how to be, that it wasn't a personal thing if they got the wrong order or whatever. I mean, this happened to me before, so I just go back. I went back to a restaurant. I got all the way home, opened my order. It was somebody else's order. Wasn't what I wanted. I just packed it up gleefully, went back and said, I'm really looking forward to my order. So, and here's the other order. And so they were so embarrassed, right?
Yeah, mostly they don't do it on purpose.
No. And nothing, well, even sometimes when it's purposeful, you need to have a conversation with yourself, like, why did God send me this? What do I need to know about this?
Yeah. I have a secretary that goes out of her way to make my life miserable. And I that's exactly what I have to do. I have to figure out what the heck.
And it could be that that person is just going to be like that, and then you just got to send her some love,
I'm pretty certain it happens to more than me.
Of course, it could be very much that person is really in a lot of pain, and that's expressing it. So, and
I think so.
there's so much pain. Oh my God, and
It's
suffering going on.
amazing, isn't it?
And so I listen to Landria. I have a hard time with her energy. Sometimes a little too strong for me, but she's one of these on fire kind of souls that gotta do this, gotta do that. She said that in her I know psychic inquiry for this next year that that we are going to be more protected than ever, and that the animals are going to be more protected than ever, and all of the the souls that have come here to serve are going to be more protected than ever.
And they say we're going to be more protected. Are we going to be able to serve more because of it?
Yes.
Okay. So Eva says, thank you. I think I'm not being in the now, but looking forward to a future happening. Words are mantra. You're looking forward to a future. So change that to is I am now into the happening.
Yeah, pull your future into yourself.
Yeah.
Because look forward to it, but embrace it. Like my future is this. My future is one of peace and serenity and love and honoring, and people with integrity are around me, and magic happens and miracles happen every day. That's my future. I bring it to my heart. I love it, and I give great gratitude.
And the reason we do this is the subconscious, who controls a lot of our life, cannot hear future tense. They cannot
hear future.
Yeah, they can only hear now.
Yes.
So if you say now, if you say in the future, your subconscious hears always future, not now.
Right. I have some financial goals for myself for this year. And what I've done is that I've enrolled in so many classes to get me more knowledgeable on how to get there. So I am on my journey, and this time next year we'll check in to see if I've reached my goals. So
I just got the strong impression you were going to reach the goals, no problem.
I have that feeling too. So
and surpass.
I'm like, I have this thing on my phone. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's an affirmation. And I think we all kind of need apps. I don't know if you can read that or not, but it says.
I can't, but no, I can't read it. I'm sorry.
Oh, is it backwards?
No, it's not backwards. It's just it has too much glare.
Okay, it's really light pink. It's obvious, and it's mine.
Oh, I love that.
So I see that every time I open my phone. It's obvious, and it's mine.
Yeah, because
every day it's obvious and it's mine.
Yeah, because we have this viewpoint and it's rigid, right?
Right.
But the universe is like this, and it's not rigid. That's why I tell people, and this is my magic card. I call this my magic card, to believe in magic.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it's a baby dragon and a little girl, and they're looking at a piece of dead wood that is growing a new leaf. So I figure, that's pretty magical.
Yes. And so if we want a magical and amazing, miraculous life, let's invite it in, and let's know what that feeling is, and start looking at ways to accomplish that in small ways. You start with that bridge. What do I need to do to have more miracles in my life today?
And I always tell people to start with the smallest thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can.
Mm-hmm.
And so why not? We can all just, it's so cool. Now, I think it was, I remember hearing it from someone else on Wisdom Seekers. Can't remember if it was Spirit or not, but when we're in, there was some mediums that would, and I think it was you also who actually told me that when you would talk to the deceased, from this body here to the spirit, that they seem to be much more evolved than they were when they were here. Now I've been
well, you're the one that said about the room that you go to take away all the negative.
Right.
which I
right.
never heard of before. I thought that was pretty cool.
I've never heard it until I um, went to that one lady, but there was also a guy. It wasn't a white room for him, but because he had worked a lot with the elementals, it
Oh,
was the elementals that were taking, cleaning him off.
yeah, and that makes sense because I mean, it's regardless of here or on the other side, it's what we think.
So what they're saying on the other side is they're with us and they're encouraging us and they feel happy and proud when we make progress and when we do amazing things, even if it's just to celebrate the passing, like let's say it's dad, my father. I have a picture of him and I go, hey dad, and I just kind of wave at him. I said, I love you, dad. He feels that.
Mhm.
He feels that. And I did not know this for sure. I just do it because, that's kind of, I know that from childhood, I've been taught to whatever you hold in your heart is real. So I know I hold my father in my heart, even though I didn't have the best relationship with him. It's just that there was always this love and his honor. He was a very honorable man. He's a very strict guy and everything, but he's very honorable and very beautiful and very courageous man. Because he was a Navy man. He served in the Navy,
Okay,
and
yeah.
then he was a hospital corpsman. He helped people. He put people back together again. I mean, he was amazing. And so anyway, I send salutes to him and all sorts of
Mm.
things, telling him how much I love him. But they are, but not only do they feel it, but it adds to their progression, their soul's progression.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. It does.
And then whatever we create here on this earth, if we are creating more prosperity, more love, more beauty, even if we're an artist and we create beauty, that beauty goes to heaven and they create it up there too. There's a reflection of it.
Yeah.
And they interchange. And this art that's behind me of the horses, that's in heaven too.
Mhm.
And here too.
I remember when mom was still alive, there was a series of books she was reading, and the lady quit writing it because she had cancer, and she thought, I'm not going to write it. I will I will leave it for my heirs. And then she lived and wrote and put it out anyhow. So mom got a chance to read it. When mom was lamenting, I said, don't worry, mom, it's already in heaven. You can read it there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. I mean, there was this one guy that I don't know whether he did it through a death experience or for a meditation, but he went to the Akashic records at the library in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, I swear to you, I don't even remember if it's mine that I actually did or this other person, because I have this solid memory of this. That there's this building and there was this man outside, and he said it was a light beam. He said to the person who was not a light being, who is a physical being, said, these are all the books that haven't been written yet.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're lots of times already there. And if you are in a creative pursuit of any sort, no matter what it is, how do you get that idea? What?
Yeah, when I have tried to write books, I've got a writer's block for the last 15 years. But when I sat and wrote, it just flowed. It just,
Float.
and
Why is
I
that?
have an idea, it's going to go here and it'll end up over there. It's like the characters took on a personality of their own and they told me what to write. So
Yes.
it's that's exactly, I suspect, what you're talking about.
And the art is there, the music is there. Um, there's this type of music that this one lady heard when she was in heaven, and it was already written down here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, hey?
It's just way cool. So,
Mm.
what you think, what you do, how you live your life makes a difference even in heaven.
Well, I remember once listening to somebody talk, and they said that when Jesus Christ was on earth, he was an ascended being. But now he's an ascended being at A level, just for an example. But now he's on Z level because he's kept on growing.
Yes,
Well, yeah, and that's something we never stop.
right. And for at the time that Jesus walked this earth, according to this amazing man that I met many years ago, the earth can only support a vibration of 33 hertz. I can't remember if megahertz or whatever, but 33 was the number. Plants at that time were 34. Plants had more consciousness than human beings. That was interesting.
Sad but true.
Yeah, and so now Jesus, Yeshua, Ben Joseph, is now in spirit. He's much higher than 33.
Yeah.
He's like infinite, right? And so the earth now is way above 100. And that's what these energies are coming in to support our higher vibration right now.
Have you noticed that the last maybe 5 days, there's been a huge, since the 21st?
Something's definitely different since
Yeah.
actually the 20th. I was feeling it actually I was feeling it the weekend before last weekend.
Yeah.
I went, whoa, this is amazing.
Because I'm getting energy reactions. I don't get energy reactions.
Oh yeah.
And my scalp is crawling, my stomach is nauseous, and I'm like, oh, cool. Because it doesn't affect me like that.
Right.
It does now. So I'm kind of excited.
Well, yeah, it's I get it kind of in my sinuses and in the top of my head. I mean, it's coming through the crown chakra, and of course, it's gone for the pineal gland and all this. So there's a lot of energy around this area.
Yeah, and a lot
that I
of
can
clearing.
feel.
A lot of, well, not so much. I think we did a lot of clearing up to the 20th, 21st. But I think we're actually more likely evolving now.
Okay, now remember you were saying that we're becoming more light, okay?
Yeah.
Well, you know, and on Earth, that there are scientists to say, well, at one point we became Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
The next evolution is Homo spiritus. Homo spiritus, or illuminatus, something. I can't remember the name of it. Illuminous, luminescence, or something like that.
But
so,
how would that affect us in the 3D?
Well, it's the evolving on the Earth. As the Earth's going up,
you're going up. So we'd still appear to be solid.
Yes.
But not necessarily quite. Maybe we will be able to do, because my dream is to be able to bilocate and go to
you can do that now. You can do that now. In fact, people are doing it right now. And,
I'm not though.
And
I want to go to Paris for breakfast.
And they're doing out-of-body experiences as well. That know, they're going. There's
out-of-body experiences that.
This has been going on for a while,
long time.
Even back in the Tibetan days, the ancients in there, they've been bilocating.
Yeah, I know they have. I'm talking about Joe Blow on the street.
So right now that energy, because what is that? When one person accomplishes something,
100th month,
then it's easier for others to accomplish it and surpass. Right. And then they get here, and then others come up, and then they go here, and then others go. Yeah. So that's what's happening.
Because I remember when I started out, I was like 25, started out in this field. What would take us months, people do in days or hours now. Because we broke the veil, we thinned the veil so much.
Glass ceiling, so to speak.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I keep saying to everybody, you guys owe us big time.
Well, I don't think that,
Yeah, but I mean, We work
But
really
yeah,
hard.
I now understand why I think it's the Eastern religions that honor their ancestors.
Yeah, because they did do the hard work.
Mhm.
So I have an ancestor who was I think they call it a hedge witch, and she had a herbal Caucasian concoction
Mhm.
that this guy came to her and he had cancer all over his face, and she put it on and the cancer went away. But nobody remembers what it was. The
Hmm.
concoction. So, sometimes we lose some of the advancements too.
Mhm. Well, it's there in the field, so if anybody wants to really to work with that, I'll just pull it through the field. And that's again what I do. Is that's my work.
Oh,
Is
cool.
so there's so much that if we work more in the fields than in just trying to move energy around here, it's going to be a lot easier for us.
Yeah. I have a feeling it has to do with flowers too, like essence of.
The Bach flowers and
Yeah.
of course, and then the essentials as well. So
Yeah.
I'm working with the essentials right now.
This was well before they had Bach flowers and essential oils. This is way
Well,
back in the 1800s, I think.
well, yeah, because the that energy and that willingness and that and knowledge was passed on to somebody to, hey, I think I can make this available to more people by doing it blah 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 this way. And so
Mhm.
that's how it evolved. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I think they're really great things.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So we have been on for an
yeah,
hour.
it's about that time. So I think everything is said, but get a word for this year and write down what you want to have happen in this year. The energies are with you, like everyone here. It's with you.
That's important. Before I leave, are you going to do a biofield or?
Well, I can definitely. What I'll do is I'll do it after we go off, and
Okay,
I'll just send
so
it. Okay, because you don't have to see me doing it, but I will send it to everybody. It's just a short thing,
yeah,
um, and just to know that you can access it at any time. All you have to do is ask, and then I'm going to send some to everyone that has been listening on this call live, and also the people who listen to it in the future.
sounds good.
Okay, all of them will receive this biofield, and it's going to be powerful because I'm going to condense it big time.
Yeah, it'd be powerful. So I'm going to just so on Wednesday we will have a meditation on the 3rd of January. We're going to have a prophecy event.
Okay, on third, right?
I think it's 4 o'clock. Did we had a time, didn't we?
I actually don't remember the time right now.
Neither
So
do I. I'm,
okay, I believe was it a Monday night or a Tuesday?
it's the 3rd. I think third, I think is a
That'd
month.
be Monday night.
Yeah. We can do it to the 4th if you've got something going on.
No, I don't think I do. Let me see.
Okay, and let me see predictions 8. I'm pretty darn certain it's not 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Let's see.
You know who would know? That would be Spirit. I'll have to get hold of
Okay,
her.
January's Monday's third, Tuesday's the fourth. Now on the fifth, it's going to be the day that I
You do the
will
biofield.
do Byfield, right, for
Mhm.
Camille, and then on the 19th as well. I mean, on the actually the 20th. Yeah, we'll go
Yeah,
back to Thursday
yeah.
after that.
And then
It's
that
okay.
means the 6th will be the meditation that day.
Okay.
Okay, so can you believe we're like just 2 days away, few days away, 4 days away from 2022?
2022. Wow.
Sacre bleu, hey?
It's going to be an amazing year. Please, if do not focus on anything that's negative or anything that's going to be scary. Just don't feed that, please, whatever
Well,
whatever you do.
it's the year of the tiger. And
Mhm.
cats, you know, cats, you have plenty of them. They have really active times,
Yes,
and then they sleep for 18 hours.
right. They do have the zoomies for about 20 minutes a day.
Yeah, so they're going to be times of extreme activity and times to catch your breath in the 2022.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just know that we're evolving and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing and giving and loving and serving the best we can, and to continue to work on yourselves and have a glorious, miraculous, awesome year.
And notice when you get a win. Play on the wins.
Oh, yes,
Mm.
definitely. In fact, what I'd love for everyone to do is to message us
Please, yeah,
where your wins are, what your
Mhm,
goals are, what your word is.
mhm.
That would be great. And so we can support you in that because we need to support each other. Right?
And there's one thing that Nicola would love is for you to ask more questions.
I
She
do.
commented on that many times. Hi, Madeline. That's Maddie. uh, she's commented on that many, many times. The more questions, the better. And she says, doesn't matter with what she's talking about. You ask a question, she'll answer it. So please ask questions. Okay, and I guess I should let you go, hey?
Well, I'm going to just say goodbye to everybody and just be in a receptive mode in the next, I would say, 10, 15 minutes. And just allow yourselves to bask in this marvelous energy. Okay.
And it is marvelous. Thank you so much, Nicola. And next time. Okay, so namaste, namasko.